These bacon and chicken Alfredo brats will absolutely pass the test. Today we're going to be making a chicken Alfredo brat. We're going to be using our 531 Alfredo Brat seasoning, and our meat block is going to be made up of chicken thighs. The reason we're going to be using chicken thighs as opposed to a white meat chicken breast is because of the fat content. Fat content adds flavor to sausage, it helps with consistency, gives you that standard brat texture that you like, and it's just going to be a really well-rounded brat. We're also going to add a little bit of extra fat in the form of bacon. We're going to grind that bacon right into our meat block. On top of that, towards the end, we're going to add some cheese and we're going to add some pasta as well. Another advantage of making a chicken sausage is that the consistency of the meat is going to break down a lot easier than either a pork brat or some sort of beef sausage. So we have our grinder set up with a 3/16 size plate, and we're only going to have to grind it once. I've had the chicken in the freezer for about 20 minutes to give it a really nice chill. That's going to help the fat content stay solid and avoid melting out during our grinding process and our mixing process. I'm ready to go to the grinder at this point, and the beauty of this is I don't have to trim any of it. I want all of this fat in there. It's already deboned, there's no skin. You can leave the skin on if you want a little extra flavor added too, but once again we're going to be adding some bacon to our meat block, so we don't need any of that with this recipe. I've got a pound of bacon here that's fresh out of the freezer as well, and I'm going to mix this right in with the chicken for our grind. And then lastly, my favorite new trick of putting ice through the grinder right at the end to make sure you get all the meat out. Today we are using our 531 Alfredo Brat seasoning. This is obviously going to go great in a chicken brat, but it also works really well with pork sausage. The B unit, which is good for a 25-pound batch, comes with seasoning and with pasta that goes directly into your sausage. Our meat block came out to exactly 10 pounds. The B unit comes with 3.75 pounds of seasoning, so we broke that down and we are going to be using 1.5 pounds of seasoning for our batch. The unit comes with 1.25 pounds of pasta, which means we will be using 0.5 pound of pasta for our batch. Our meat block came out to almost exactly 10 pounds, which is 40% of 25 pounds. So for the seasoning and for the pasta, we're going to be using 40% of what is provided. I'm just going to dump that seasoning right on there, and I'm going to start mixing before I add the pasta and the cheese. I'm going to start slow because that powdered seasoning, I don't want it getting up in the air. I want it all absorbed into the meat. Now I'm going to add our pasta and just a little bit of water to help with the consistency. For about 10 pounds, I'm going to do about 1/2 cup of water. And this pasta you don't need to cook before mixing it in. During the cooking process, the fat and the sausage is going to cook that pasta for you. We're pretty well mixed and incorporated there, so last thing I'm going to add is our high temp mozzarella. For cheese inclusions, we try to keep it at about the 10% inclusion rate, which makes this really easy. We've got a 10-pound meat block, 1 pound of high temp mozz. And lastly, I'm going to add just about 1 cup of chopped green onion. It's going to add a little more green color and just a hint of sweetness. This is already smelling really good. It's a very creamy, cheesy flavor coming out, and I'm really excited to see how this tastes when it's all cased up. So let's load our sausage stuffer. And I've found the easiest way to avoid air pockets when you're doing this is to fill the center and push it down out towards the walls. And that'll eliminate as many of those air bubbles that we don't want in our sausage. We're gonna crank it and we're gonna see the meat come through. And we're gonna stop it right before it gets to the end. And pull back to release the pressure. Now we're gonna load up our casings. Today I'm gonna be using a 29-32 size casing. You can use a collagen casing, but today I went with a natural casing because I prefer the snap and the texture. I've had these soaking for about an hour in some room temperature water, so they're gonna be really nice and ready for us. And putting the water through the casing like that is gonna flush it. It's also gonna help untangle it as we load the horn. All right, for the linking, we're gonna go about 6 or 7 inch links. And the trick is pinch and then twist. Then we're gonna go about 6 to 7 inches. And we're gonna skip one and go another 6 to 7 and twist. That way, you don't have to twist every link. And the last one, there's a little bit of extra casing at the end, you spin the other way. I'm gonna go through real quick with my sausage pricker, make sure I get as many of those air pockets out as I can. Then we'll be ready for the grill. And when you find one, just give it a poke. Don't go too deep because you don't want to tear the casing too much. And then just give it a little squeeze to work that air out. I grilled up our chicken brats and then I placed them on a tray and I threw them in a 350-degree oven. The reason I did that is on a high temp grill, you run the chance of losing a lot of fat, and we wanted to retain as much moisture as we could in our sausage. So I brought them up to 165 degrees internal temperature, which is really important because it is chicken. And then I finished them off with just a little bit of shredded Parmesan and we're ready to taste. I've learned after making a bunch of these sausage videos that you should never just try and get that whole sausage in your mouth. So we're gonna give this a cut, take a look at what we got on the inside. And that looks really nice. You can see our high temp cheese, the parsley, which is actually in the seasoning pack itself. You can still see there's a good amount of moisture in there. All right, cheers. First report, the texture is great. The fat content and the moisture is there. Past that, the flavor is amazing. It tastes nice and creamy and garlicky and cheesy and delicious. It's really a great blend. I think the green onion we added is just a hint of sweetness, which is really nice. That high temp cheese. I don't know why anybody would make sausage without high temp cheese. So please try this recipe. It's absolutely amazing. I cooked up most of these right away, but I do have some leftovers which I'm going to freeze. If you want to keep them fresh, this is a chicken sausage, so it only has about a 5 to 7 day shelf life in the fridge. A safe bet is to vac pack them, and then you can throw them in your freezer and they'll stay good for about 4 to 6 months. If you like this video and want to see more, click subscribe. You can also head to psseasoning.com where you'll find a wide array of products, including our 531 Alfredo Brats seasoning. Until next time, I'm Chef Jed. Thanks for watching.